I know that your success in your business is phenomenal. Is your success in the bedroom as phenomenal as your business? This is what we are getting into today. When I tell you I am super excited, like I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. This is my jam. In this space of Overachievers Anonymous, we're all about healing and creating healing practices so that we can have more sales, more serotonin, and more sex. So, if you are like Heidi, I am here to understand what the connection is. I got you, sis. I got you. That is what we're going to jump into today. If you are already very clear of getting the connection, what I'm going to share with you today is so very different. So very different than anything that you have probably heard of as it relates to having better sex. So I'm not talking about positions. I'm not talking about sex toys. I am not talking about any of that. I'm talking about something that on a deep and profound level will change your relationship with sex from here on out. All right? So, um, the issue is that as it relates to sex, we have some challenges, right? And I want to speak to my archetypes. Today we're going to start with our badass Betties. So, my badass Betties, you all are so driven. You know how to create success. You smash goals like it's nothing, right? But in that, the presence of your masculine drive is very prominent. And as a result of that prominence, you'll find yourselves not being able to so easily tap into that feminine side. So the masculinity that you use in your business kind of becomes the Achilles heel in the bedroom. That's with my badass Betties. My kitchen sink Kellys, you are so good at throwing all the things at all the things that it becomes overwhelming, and sex becomes something that is just another thing on your to-do list. And we're going to talk about this in a little bit later, but as a result of that, it just gets pushed to the back burner. It doesn't become front stage because honestly, it hasn't been prioritized, and there are so many other things going on that feel like they're just simply more important because you're juggling all the things and you're overwhelmed and you're frustrated and you're like, peace out. Then we have my zoned out Zoes. Sisters, you are afraid of not getting it right. You question so many things, and that's no different than in the bedroom. You have all of these questions and you're like doubting yourself, and so you're just not very confident. And because you cannot be sure that you're going to reach perfection for yourself or your partner, you also are like, okay, I'm gonna tap out. And so, three different reasons why we may be tapping out or just not having the success that we want, depending on our archetype. Which one of these feels most familiar to you? Let me know in the comments. Are you feeling like you're the zoned out Zoe who just wants to get it right, the kitchen sink Kelly that is just overwhelmed by all of the things, or the badass Betty that's crushing it in the goals, but then you're like, sex goals, perhaps not. Okay, I'd love to know this. In order to get the most out of today's training, you must have the best sex of your life care package that I am sharing with you. It is a phenomenal gift and resource. I'm sharing it with you all complimentary today. Today, I'm sharing it with you complimentary, and I want you to have it. If you would like to have it, if you want to play along, just simply put in the comments, hashtag, oh yes. Hashtag, oh yes. Put that in the comments, and my team and I will shoot you over this care package, because the care package is what you're going to need to play along with us today. So here is some good news. The good news is you know how to win. You know how to create success. You are a problem solver. You know how to get stuff done. That's not questionable. And your feminine energy, whether you are aware of it or not, your feminine energy is the power source. It is what is powering so much of your success. The thing is, sis, you just don't know it yet. You just don't know it yet. You haven't fully embodied it. And so it has fueled your success all along. You just haven't tapped into her. The bad news is you ain't prioritized sex. You just have not done it. Sex has not been a priority because I know this. If your sex life is not what you want it to be, I know that sex isn't a priority for you because I know that you know how to smash goals. I know that you know how to be successful. You are an overachiever. And the reason that sex has not been as successful is it hasn't made the list. Okay? So it's an afterthought. You have pushed it to the back burner. It's optional up until now, up until today's conversation. Today's conversation is going to be the game changer that allows you to really see how vital sex is. And not just any sex, but I'm talking about good, toes curling, body shivering kind of sex. It's a part of your vitality and it's also key for your success. Watch me. So the thing is, you end up in a space where you just kind of push it to the side. You're like, I got this to do, I have that to do, I have the kids, I have my business, I have my family, my mother, my whatever. And sex just gets pushed to the back burner. But that's not in your soul what you want. It's not even what your body wants. So I wanted to just stop for a minute and break down why should we even care, right? Besides just feeling this, the feel good of great sex, why should we care about it? And I'm going to give you some powerful and compelling reasons. Sex is a pain reliever. You know how the old saying goes, no, not tonight, honey, I have a headache. Well, shh, don't tell your husband. But having great orgasms is phenomenal when you really do have a headache or a migraine. It also improves your heart health, really helping to protect you against cardiovascular disease. And as women, we have to begin thinking about that. Heart disease is one of the number one killers of women. So having better sex, having wonderful orgasms can protect you against that. It gives you better sleep. Having great sex and great orgasms is phenomenal for helping you to sleep. Some people call it, this is my little sleeping pill. But it also reduces stress. And this one I think is super important because when we think about reducing stress, we're also making room and space to problem solve and to have creativity to build success in other parts of our life. When stress is reduced, we have more capacity. And that oxytocin that is released when we have orgasms, it improves mood. It's going to increase your just overall contentment with where you are in life. And that is a good come from to do whatever else that you want to do and build your business, build your social connections, become deeper connected in with yourself. Now, let me talk about another little piece about this that is important for us as we age. It improves your pelvic floor strength. Okay. So being able to think about not having that leaky bladder or dealing with prolapse in our bladder, nobody wants that, right? And as it turns out, having great sex, having great orgasms will help to prevent that leaky bladder. That's very embarrassing. We don't want that. So, how crazy is it that having great orgasms is such a powerful piece of our vitality, our success? Even with fertility, yes, a man coming creates the baby, but when you also have an orgasm, you create the chances of being able to have a child. It's all of the contractions and such. And in this time where we're still looking at COVID and all other kind of diseases and health challenges, it improves, having great orgasms improve your immune system. So it's important. It's important. Do we now see why it is important to be having good and plenty, regular orgasms? Good and plenty, sisters. This is what we are going for. Okay. So the reason that we want to really think about this differently is for all of the things that I just listed above. But what I'm about to share with you is something that might just rock your world just a little bit. Because as I mentioned before, the answer to this is not about positions or sex toys. What I'm talking about today is turning your menstrual cycle from something that you dread to something that gives you magical powers. Now, if you're like, Heidi, what the heck? What do you just hang in there? Wait a minute. When you honor each phase of your cycle, whether you're menstruating or in perimenopause or even menopause, we can align with the moon. You're going to tap into a wellspring of your feminine power, something that we uniquely have. And this is power and wisdom that is within you, it's already there. This isn't just about a practice of tracking our periods. I know for me, for many years, I'm just like, okay, let me put it on the calendar. Now I have an app. Put it in the app every time my period starts because I want to know, like, to plan my life around just from the standpoint of like traveling and those kinds of things, right? Girl, there's so much more to tracking and dialing into your period. What I'm talking about is really reconnecting with our natural rhythms, really beginning to understand and embracing our intuitive insights that come with each and every part of our cycle. This allows us to really feel deeply rooted and connected and alive. And there is a sensualness that happens within this space as well. Super, super powerful. And when you ritualize your cycle, you don't just heal, sisters. You're going to elevate your entire being. You're going to elevate your who-ness. You're going to tap into what we call your divine ideal. Because this is not something that is dreaded, but it's celebrated. And it's setting the stage for deeper connections with yourself and with your partner. So if this is sounding interesting, hang in there because I'm coming with the good to make sure that you get all that you need here in this space. Okay, so if you want to sexually thrive, in the comments, put "oh yes," hashtag "oh yes," and we're going to shoot over to you the Great Sex Now care package that you're going to need in order to do this practice. Super, super important. Okay. So make sure you drop that in the comments, whether you're watching live or in the replay. Hashtag OHYES. Put that there, and my team will shoot that over to you. So what if instead of sidestepping sex, putting it as a back burner, something that's just like, okay, when I get to it, what if you could consistently create, manifest, attract the most earth-shattering orgasms at will? What I'm going to share with you today is going to allow you to do just that. It is going to put you in the driver's seat of your sexual life. And we already know why, right? We've already talked about all of the reasons, the health reasons, the stress reasons, all of those are the reasons. But this is what we're going to look at. What are the three things that you need to do with your menstrual cycle or with the moon cycle that's going to help you have these breakthroughs? Okay. And sisters, these are things that indigenous women have been doing from the beginning of time. We're just catching up. We're stepping back to go forward, if you will. So the number one thing is that you deepen your self-connection through really profound rituals. And all of us have rituals. It may be how you take your coffee in the morning. It may be visiting with your mom every weekend. We already have rituals that are there, but this is about creating a ritual with yourself. So the foundation of great sex is really deeply connecting with yourself. And it involves understanding and embracing your who-ness. Who are you? Who are you at your core? And when you create these meaningful rituals for you, number one, it changes our whole concept around this period that is something to be dread. I will tell you, trigger alert, as someone that is a survivor of sexual abuse, certainly I have had this love-hate relationship with my body, my sexuality, in some interesting kind of ways. What I find is that by doing these healing rituals and practices, I'm celebrating her. I'm celebrating all aspects of myself, of my femininity, and I'm integrating that into who I am. It's not something that is separate and apart, but it really gets to be this beautiful essence, right, of who I am. And we're going to talk about practices and rituals, and I'm not talking about self-care that's like bubble baths and stuff. We're going to get much deeper in it than that. This is about really aligning our menstrual cycles or moon cycle so that we're cultivating self-awareness. Girl, this is the key for you learning who you are in a way that you perhaps never have thought of before, which will increase your self-confidence, your self-awareness, your self-worth, and ultimately you just gonna be hot. You're gonna be hot and sexy because confidence is the number one thing. That's the number one thing to make you sexy and attractive to others. It's not the size of your breast, your booty, or how snatched your waist is. Confidence is the number one thing to create attraction. Okay, the second piece of this is we are going to embrace and align our natural rhythms. Whether we're paying attention to these cycles, they are coming every single month. And when we can understand and align with our natural rhythms, particularly our menstrual cycle or the moon cycle, we are able to have a whole new set of insights, a whole new set of our superpowers, like legitimately superpowers. Every week, I remember when I was going to premarital counseling, and the marital therapist told my husband this, and I thought it was so profound. He said, essentially, he broke down every phase of the menstrual cycle, and he said, "Bruh, what I'm here to tell you is that you're going to have a new wife every week of the month. Buckle up." And that's so true. Now, he said it in somewhat of a negative connotation, but what he was explaining is that there are different forces at play every week, and if you know how to work them, you can have better outcomes in the bed and outside the bed. All right. So each phase is bringing different energies and opportunities, whether it's for introspection, celebration, release, pulling in, having deep conversations. Every week ain't the week to have those deep conversations. Every week isn't the week to release, but when you know what week you're in and what that looks like, it can be a game changer. It can be a game changer. And this is not just about your sexuality. Your sexuality is a reason of why we want to do this, but it isn't the only reason. So having self-intimacy is foundational for having great intimacy outside of yourself. Years ago, I was an actress in the play Vagina Monologues. And it was really powerful because I remember my character saying, "You want me to look down there? You want me to look down there? Like, that's like the cellar, that's the gutter. Like, you want me to be in touch with down there?" And I remember that character was so, she had shock and awe that was what was being suggested to her, because she was so disconnected from her sexuality, her sensuality, and her physicality of her vagina and of her femininity. This stops with us right now. This stops with us being able to understand that there is no shame. In fact, there is magic. There's pure magic in our femininity. The number three thing is that we really get to come to a place of prioritizing self-care and setting boundaries. Now, listen, I've shared three things with you. This one right here is so powerful. It is so big because self-care basically means that I am going to give more to myself than I give to others. Let me say that for you one more time. Self-care meaning it means that I am going to give more to me than I give to everyone else. That is not being selfish. That is being self-disciplined. 51% to me, 49% to everybody else. This means I'm holding my energy sacred. I'm refueling my own tank first. I'm putting that mask on me first. I'm setting clear boundaries. When you're prioritizing yourself, when you're really saying, okay, in the hierarchy of everything, I am putting myself first, you are going to set that standard for how other people will treat you. You are literally giving them the model of how to treat you. And this self-respect and self-love and self-discipline, Forbes did a fantastic article on how it is a discipline. It will really show you and set the standard for other people of how they're to respect you and how they can take care of you, right? When they see you taking lavish care of yourself, then they're like, okay, they get the clue, they get the message. So these practices are about creating healing, transforming your relationship with your body and with yourself so that you have a good come from for sexuality. Okay? You with me? Now, I must dive in ever so briefly into these 4 cycles because I want you to have some sense of what we're talking about. These are all listed out in the Best Sex Now care package, but I want to just kind of go over them a little bit with you so that you can kind of begin to have a framework for this. So our number 1 phase is our menstrual phase. This is we call her Sage. This is the new moon, and this is the time to reflect. It's the time to kind of retreat, recharge, and really think about I'm going inward so that I can prepare myself to go outward. It's letting go of what no longer serves you and being very tuned in to your deepest desires. It's a moment to connect with your intuition and just to have that real strong foundation. This is what happens during your period. This is the menstrual phase. The second phase of this is our maiden. We call her the maiden, and this is your follicular or the first quarter moon phase. This is an essential time where we are welcome to action, like we are at it. It's new beginnings, it's new opportunities. The energy is on the rise, and it's the perfect time to finish up projects, to set the intentions, and embracing creativity. Um, cre- Embracing creativity in all of our spaces. Super, super important. The third phase is the mother, or this is when we're ovulating. This happens ideally if we are synced up with the full moon. And it's our time to shine and to connect. You in this time are at your most vibrant. You are radiant and you're magnetic. Sex is great during this particular week. And it's not just about sex, but it's a great time to really nurture those relationships, whether it's a sexual relationship or not. Super important. Communicating openly, looking at your progress and being like, okay, I see you. I see what you've done. And that's so important as you're moving forward because you're able to see what accomplishments you have, which strengthens your can do muscle, sexually or otherwise, right? And then the last one is our enchantress. This is during the luteal phase or the last quarter moon. And this is the energy beginning to kind of settle back down. If you think of like a snow globe where things are settling back down, you're winding down. And this phase really invites us to reflect, it invites us to release. It's a powerful time of letting go. Let that shit go. This is when you want to do this. You're tapping into, okay, does this serve me? If not, I'm blessing and releasing. Super important. You have creativity. You are preparing to start the cycle all over again. And there is like a freshness that is with that cycle. Okay. So we have our 4 cycles our menstrual, our 4 phases of our menstrual cycle. And when we begin to understand where we are, and in the care package, y'all, you're going to be able to chart your own. You're going to be able to see. You're going to be able to pay attention and have deep and profound insights into that for yourself. And when you do that, you will then have a self-assuredness and a self-awareness that is all but irresistible. You understand me? Irresistible. All right. So as a recap, what we are looking at doing is healing our relationship with our menstrual cycle and ritualizing it and making it juicy and delicious. And as we do that, we get greater self-awareness. We get a bigger sense of who we are and what we have to offer. And that healing is the springboard that we can then go in to create whatever it is that we're creating next. Magical. And there are 3 pieces of this. It is about deepening our self-connection through these rituals. Deepening our self-connection through these rituals. The foundation of great sex is a deep connection to self. Number two, we're looking at embracing and aligning with our natural rhythms. These are things that have been going on since the beginning of a time in our indigenous communities. And it's powerful, and it's been happening because these women have known about their superpowers. Lastly, we are prioritizing self care and setting boundaries, giving ourselves 51%, taking better care of ourselves than we do everything else. Because when we do that, we are holding our energy sacred and we're refueling our own tank. We're setting those boundaries, and that is what positions us for success in and out of the bedroom. Y'all, I told you today was going to be juicy, and I hope that I did not disappoint. I am Heidi Day, your soul healer, and the modern medicine woman for your soul, for badass overachievers who have paved their path to success, but ultimately they just want to heal. You just want to heal so that you can have more sales, more serotonin, and more sex. And here at Overachievers Anonymous, that is what we are all about. I am thrilled to be here in this space with you, and I look forward to seeing you back here again soon. Make sure if you want today's great sex now care package, you've got to put hashtag oh yes in the comments, and my team will get it over to you. Be well.